Primer 55 came to town, and I always loved them, back in the day, Jason and Bobby Burns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I actually went to a show in Milwaukee because my buddy used to book there at the Rave, and we used to just kick it with everybody. So he's like, hey, come talk to, Primer 55. And I know you're trying to work on your record. Why don't you see if they'll do a track with you? So it came to be. I met Jason, I met Bobby that night, but Jason was going through a lot of his demons, with everything, and
Yeah.
he basically fell off that tour. And Bobby's like, I know you wanted to do a track for your record, but you should try out for the band. I'm gonna hold auditions. So he sent me a couple of demos. He's like, just write to these songs, and if we pick you, we pick you. If we don't, we don't. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So he sent me these 2 songs, and I agonized over them. I'm like, what do I write to these? It didn't really sound like Primer. I thought he was just fucking with me. You know what I mean? They were more like
Yeah.
grunge sounding songs. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do whatever. So I ripped a couple songs off, sent them back to him, and within a week, yeah, within a week, he's like, hey, you want to go on tour in 2 months? And I was like, holy
Oh
fucking shit!
shit.
So that's how I joined Primer 55. The way Force 5 came to be was there was 5 guys in the band, and we needed to think of something for a record label for the first album. So it became Force 5 Records because there was 5 guys in the band. And I actually had an alter ego that was the booking agent. His name was like Jeff or some shit like that. So everybody's always like, "Where's Jeff, your booking agent?" I'm like, "Oh, he's not on tour with us." It was just me. You know what I mean? So that's how Force 5 came to be. And then when I joined Primer, yeah, I think Bobby's label, he wanted to call it Family for Life Records or something. So I actually helped run that with Bobby and took a break from Force 5. And then basically after the Primer 55 thing broke up, I had a few issues with some some drugs and shit like that. I kind of fell off the face of the earth for like 5 years, and basically reformed Force 5 Records in 2016, and it's been kicking ever since. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. That I see Force 5, like they're one of those labels that you would just see like around a lot. Like whatever groups you had on were always making some noise. It's like I always associated Force 5. I know there's a lot of crossover with Suburban Noise. So that's always been cool to see. But as far as Primer 55, I know like I myself on the channel, I've gotten a lot of heat, man, because I mean I made a Primer 55 video as part of my as part of my worst of new metal series. Now I get, that that may sound a little harsh or whatever, and part of it is kind of like an act, over the top, whatever, whatever. But I was pretty genuine in my actual thoughts. Like I always found Primer 55 to just be like not nothing too special, but I think I may be missing something because a lot of people tell me like how much the music helped them and whatnot, and like I had no intentions on pissing anybody off. Like I know Jason's daughter was kind of angry about it and stuff like that, but it's strange to see like this band that I thought didn't have much clout or whatever really does have like a lot of love all over the world. And so just to be part of that, like, and I understand from my understanding, like there was only like a single or something that was released with you on it.
No, there actually 3 of the songs are on my album, The King of Ruckus Rap. Because here's what happened: me and Bobby had a big falling out, and we have a whole album done. There's like 12 tracks. We wrote the album in Des Moines, Iowa, and tracked it there. Spent a week there recording, and so we had a big falling out, and he took a lot of those songs and used the instrumentals for Bones from Stuck Mojo. They had a band together after Primer 55 broke up with me, and he used those songs for that project with Bones called Killer in the Workplace. And I was like, well, I fucking wrote a lot of this shit. I'm keeping some of this shit. So I put it on my record. And yes, Flexing, the video that you probably see on YouTube, that's on my record. There's one called Picture Frame. It's like more like a ballad type song that I used from the Primer 55 era.
Oh, okay.
You Can't Fuck With Me, which I used. I actually did it on a mixtape with the Nas beat, but we redid that for the Primer record that never got released, and I put that on my album. So, but there's still like 9 other tracks, and there's a couple tracks I really, really liked. I wish I've actually tried to talk to Bobby about letting me release the album, just giving him in advance. Here's some money, let me put it out for people. But me and him, I just don't know. I've tried to extend the olive branch, but I don't know if he's ever going to take it or not. And I said some shitty things to him, and he said some shitty things to me on like podcasts and stuff like that. I'm way past that now, but at one point I was really pissed at him. Really pissed.
Yeah. Well, it happens. You know what I mean? And it's like you say, you put the olive branch out. Well, you can only see what happens. Like I know a lot of people would
Yeah.
really love to hear that shit. That's for sure.
There's also I one of the things that was hard for me is I loved Jason. I loved his music, and people thought that I was like this asshole second singer and like fuck him, he's not Jason, blah blah blah. And it did. I'll be honest, back in the day, it hurt a little bit because people were like, "You're not the original singer." I'm like, I never claimed to be. I'm not trying to be. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
was tough being, it after him. But anyone that saw us live, the thing that made me happy is they come up with like, you gave the music something live, like it felt good, like your energy was there, and that meant a
Oh
lot
yeah.
to me. But yeah, even I know Jason's daughter has said a few things on YouTube too about like fuck him, he's not the original singer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The crazy thing, it hurts me because she doesn't understand. Me and Jason used to talk all the time. When I was getting clean, Jason and me would spend hours on the phone talking to each other about being clean and what it meant to feel sober and stuff like that. And we were actually supposed to do a tour together, me and Jason, and work on some music. It didn't happen. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Jason. By the way.
Yes.
Shit. Yeah, dude. I've always kind of wondered what happened there. And it goes both ways. Like you hear a lot of people saying, like Jason did this, he did that. This wasn't on the level. So I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's like any other, I guess, rock and roll story. Supposedly,
Yeah.
did you
Yeah.
get the tattoo like after you joined the band?
Yeah, yeah, it was actually for the Flexin video. We
Oh,
were shooting
okay.
the video in Atlanta, Georgia, and if you watch the video, you'll see me getting it done in the video, like certain parts of the clips, and that was during the week that we were shooting that video and working on the music for the album.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm actually gonna like people have been telling me to give it another shot, the Primer 55 discography. So
yeah,
I'm actually gonna work on a video where I say I like listen to everything or re-listen to it or whatever, and I'm gonna try to reach out to Bobby for that one. So who knows, man?
yeah.
Maybe I
It
can,
would, it would be, yeah, it'd be kind of cool if he talked to you. You know what I mean?
yeah, just to get the full perspective, and maybe I can shake that olive branch a little for you
There you
too.
go.
But yeah, that's very cool, man. But like aside from Primer 55, because that was actually interesting little thing there when I was working on the video. I was like, whoa, that's how I actually heard about you in the first place, was
Yeah,
through
I
that.
remember someone sent me the link. They're like, "Dude, check this out." And I saw it. I'm like, "Oh!" And I wasn't mad, but you kept going or non-point or some shit. I'm like, "Damn, I love non-point too."
Yeah,
Like
that's
this guy's trashing all the bands I like.
well, that's a running joke. It's like a little running
Yeah.
joke because Nonpoint literally tours with everybody.
Yes.
So like I
Yeah.
always say that they're coming to town soon this month, next month. So I'm gonna go try to see them. They've actually seen they're aware of that joke and they think it's funny. So it's a cool.
See, that's cool. That's cool
Yeah.
because sometimes online people tend to get so puffed out about what other people say and like, some of it's just jokes, you guys, and who cares if you can't laugh at yourself?
Yeah.
You're just gonna be bitter at the world, man.
For
You gotta
sure.
calm down.
And I've
You know what I
definitely
mean?
learned to not be so harsh about things, like especially if I don't know what I'm talking about. Like in that video when I was like, yeah, and then a guy named the DRP started singing, whoever the hell that is,
Yeah.
like, and I was like, all I had to do was a little research, and I would have known this is the fucking Force 5 Records guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
No,
it's
it's
like,
all good. Like
yeah.
I said, I laughed. I get things like that, and my friends love busting my balls when they see shit like that. They're like, "Yo."
Yeah, it's like I don't mean any disrespect.